Once upon a time in a small community in Jamaica, there lived a wicked woman named Mirabel. Mirabel had a daughter named Elizabeth whom she had with her first husband. Mirabel's first husband died when Elizabeth was only 1 year old. Across town, there lived a man named John, who had recently experienced a heartbreaking loss. His beloved wife had tragically passed away during childbirth, leaving behind a beautiful baby girl. John, with tears in his eyes, cradled his precious daughter and bestowed upon her the name, Jasmin, in honor of the fragile yet enduring beauty that had come into his life. As Jasmin grew, John showered her with boundless love and affection. He would affectionately call her, Beauty, a reflection of her inner and outer radiance as she blossomed into a beautiful child. Despite having all the material comforts at their disposal, it was evident that Jasmin yearned for the nurturing love of a mother figure in her life. Jasmin spent most of her time with her nanny, as her father's demanding role as a businessman required him to travel extensively across the country. There were occasions when he would be away for weeks at a time, leaving Jasmin in the care of her devoted nanny. 8 years later, Mirabel crossed paths with John while shopping in town. As she strolled through the bustling market, her keen eye for detail spotted a man whose attire and demeanor immediately signaled affluence. John's tailored suit and polished shoes, combined with an air of sophistication, left no doubt in Mirabel's mind. Here was a man of means. Months after their courtship, Mirabel and John celebrated their wedding day in grand style. The event was the talk of the town, with the elites from near and far gracing the occasion. Mirabel radiated with excitement as she embarked on her new life with John, her heart brimming with anticipation and joy. John took Mirabel and Elizabeth to live with him after their marriage. He introduced Jasmin to her new mother and sister. However, tension immediately filled the air. Elizabeth, who was now 8 years old, was very spoiled and resistant to sharing her mother or her new father with anyone else. In contrast, Jasmin was thrilled to meet her new mother and sister. She eagerly embraced them, excited about the new chapter in their lives. Mirabel soon approached John with a request to relieve the nanny of her duties. She argued that Jasmin was growing older and wouldn't require a nanny's care anymore, now that she was present in their lives. But after a few weeks, signs of Mirabel's wickedness started to emerge. She would leave all the house chores for Jasmin to complete while her own daughter enjoyed playing outside. Jasmin diligently completed all the household tasks, while Mirabel's daughter avoided any responsibilities. However, instead of receiving gratitude, Jasmin's efforts were met with cruelty. Mirabel denied Jasmin food and sometimes gave her only scraps from their meals. Despite facing such mistreatment, Jasmin continued to show kindness and love toward her wicked stepmother and stepsister. She remained patient and never complained, even though her situation was difficult and unfair. John's work kept him away from home often, which made him unaware of the mistreatment Jasmin endured. After returning from one of his business trips, John fell seriously ill and had to be rushed to the hospital. The doctor informed Mirabel that a considerable sum of money was needed immediately for John's surgery, without which he wouldn't survive another week. Mirabel's greed and wickedness surfaced again as she chose not to spend the money that John had worked hard for. She lied and procrastinated, creating excuses about not having the funds. Unfortunately, John passed away in the hospital. After his burial, Mirabel's wickedness escalated further. She intensified her mistreatment of Jasmin. Mirabel seized Jasmin's bedroom to enlarge her own daughter's room. Jasmin was relegated to a small quarters, typically used for boys. While Mirabel and her daughter enjoyed luxurious meals and comfortable living, Jasmin endured hunger and hardships. Despite the harsh treatment, Jasmin's spirit remained unbroken. She continued to perform her duties and show kindness, even when facing such cruelty. The community recognized Jasmin's goodness, and she became well liked by everyone for her kindness and helpful nature. Jasmin matured into an even more beautiful young woman as the years passed. At the age of 16, she radiated more beauty than ever. One day, while fetching water at the river, she encountered an elderly woman struggling with her water bucket. Jasmin's act of kindness led her to the old lady's home, which turned out to be a large and beautiful house. Jasmin helped the old lady inside. Jasmin looked around at the old lady's beautiful home and couldn't help but smile. It had been such a long time since she had been in such a stunning and inviting space. The old lady offered Jasmin water and inquired about her life. Jasmin, with a heavy heart, shared the painful memory of how she had been forcibly expelled from her late father's home by her wicked stepmother, Mirabel. She recounted the harsh reality of being relegated to the small, inadequate boys' quarters, a stark contrast to the life she had once known. The old lady felt compassion for Jasmin and invited her to visit and help her with chores whenever she could. Grateful for the newfound friendship, Jasmin bid the old lady farewell and returned to her own life. However, her encounters with the old lady marked a turning point in her journey. As Jasmin continued to face mistreatment at home, her determination to escape the cruelty grew stronger. She decided to leave her abusive stepmother's house and sought refuge with the kind old lady. She enrolled Jasmin in a reputable school to pursue her education. With the old lady's support, Jasmin thrived academically. She studied hard and excelled, eventually achieving her dream of becoming a skilled surgeon. Jasmin finally had the love of a mother that she had longed for throughout her life. The old lady embraced Jasmin as her own grandchild, and their bond was filled with warmth and affection. In a gesture of deep love and trust, the old lady willed all her wealth and properties to Jasmin, knowing that she had no living relatives. The old lady's heart was content and filled with happiness, knowing that she had found a kindred spirit in Jasmin, and that her legacy would be carried forward by this remarkable young woman. Years later, at the age of 97, the old lady peacefully passed away. It was indeed a somber and reflective moment for Jasmin, who had come to love the old lady as her own grandmother. However, amidst the sadness, Jasmin found solace in the cherished memories they had created together and the enduring legacy of kindness and generosity that the old lady had left behind. One day, while Jasmin was working as a surgeon, an old woman entered the hospital, desperate and pleading for help. The woman explained that her daughter needed life-saving surgery, but they couldn't afford the cost. To Jasmin's surprise, the woman was her own stepmother, Mirabel. Despite the painful memories, Jasmin's heart was filled with empathy and forgiveness. Jasmin recognized Mirabel's plea for help as a chance to make amends. She stepped in and performed the surgery, saving Mirabel's daughter. Mirabel, overwhelmed by guilt and remorse, begged for forgiveness and explained her dire circumstances. Jasmin, embracing her own growth and the power of compassion, forgave her stepmother. Mirabel believed it was high time to make amends with Jasmin, especially considering that Jasmin had saved her own daughter's life despite all the cruelty she had endured. She thought inviting Jasmin for dinner to their small apartment was the right step. To her surprise, Jasmin wholeheartedly agreed to the invitation, demonstrating her forgiving nature. However, lurking behind Mirabel's apparent change of heart were devious plans. Her apology to Jasmin was insincere, merely a guise to lure Jasmin to her house with ulterior motives. Deep down, Mirabel seethed with jealousy over Jasmin's success, especially since her own daughter had become a school dropout, remaining idle at home. This jealousy would soon drive her to take drastic and harmful actions against the very person who had shown her kindness in the face of cruelty. In a tragic twist of fate, Mirabel had originally poisoned the food meant for Jasmin. However, driven by her own greed and jealousy, Mirabel's own daughter Elizabeth switched the plates, taking the larger portion meant for Jasmin. As she began to consume the poisoned food, suddenly, she started coughing uncontrollably. Before anyone could reach her, she slumped over, choking on the deadly meal. Mirabel's horrified scream filled the room as she realized her own daughter, Elizabeth, had inadvertently eaten the poisoned food. Mirabel's actions caught up with her, and she was arrested and charged for her crimes. She admitted to hiding John's money and allowing him to die, all for the sake of greed. She was sentenced to life in prison, left to reflect on the repercussions of her actions. One day, while at work, Jasmin crossed paths with a fellow surgeon named Simon. As they spent more time together, their connection deepened, and they soon found themselves in a loving relationship. Their shared experiences and passions drew them closer, and before long, they were head over heels in love. Their love story blossomed, leading to a beautiful journey of marriage. Jasmin and Simon exchanged vows, pledging their love and commitment to one another. Their union brought them immeasurable joy, and together they embarked on a new chapter in their lives. In time, their love story expanded to include a family of their own. They were blessed with 3 wonderful children, a son named Carter, and twin girls named Ella and Emma. Their home echoed with the laughter and happiness of their growing family, and their hearts were full as they embraced the joys and challenges of parenthood. As Jasmin's own family flourished, she looked back on her past and remembered how she had triumphed over life's adversities with the guidance of the old woman. She cherished the memory of her father and the lessons she had learned from the old lady. These lessons became a legacy that she passed down to her children, emphasizing the values of kindness, sincerity, hard work, and the principle of never responding to evil with evil. In this way, they created a harmonious and fulfilling life together. With love and resilience as their guiding lights, they lived happily ever after. The end.